I wanted to share a little story of a girl called Wanjiko. Wanjiko was a 16, 17-year-old girl from Kirinyaga in a school called Mutira Girls. To give a little background, Wanjiko was born in a family of 7. And in those early years, in the 70s, boys were given more privileges when it comes to education. But it was a little different for Wanjiko. Wanjiko happened to be her father's favorite. And the reason why she was her father's favorite is because she was doing very well academically in school, and she was also involved in other activities like running and things like that. And because of how well she did in school, she was favored by her father, who traditionally, or in the Kikuyu community, boys would be privileged. And unfortunately, things happened, and Wanjiko got pregnant at 17 years old. Disappointment to her father, who had placed so much hope on her as she was going to become a hope to the rest of the family. And as much as the father was disappointed, and the mother, they didn't give up on her. She had to drop out of school, and out of the frustration and feeling she had let her family down, she thought of unthinkable. She wanted to commit suicide, and she attempted committing suicide. Fortunately, when she wanted to drink the poison, the father came right on time and was able to kick the cup out of her hand and saved her. And she was rushed to hospital. Fortunately, she hadn't taken much of the poison, and she was admitted, and the baby was delivered. Once the baby was delivered, Wanjiko didn't want anything to do with that baby, and she felt it was a letdown. She had dropped out of school. She had been impregnated by the same person who was supposed to be protecting her, her own teacher. And the circumstances that surrounded the whole incident left her feeling very frustrated. And she disappeared, and the newborn was left under the care of her parents, who happened to be the grandparents to this child. And the grandmother used to chew, roasted bananas and things like that to feed the child. And Wanjiko disappeared. When she disappeared, she got in touch with her uncle, and her uncle was able to facilitate her to join the police force, and she became a police officer. She frequently visited her parents, and the little girl who was born would identify her as a bigger sister all through. And the little girl knew the grandparents as her parents because she grew up to know them as her parents, and the rest of the family members, she referred to them as her siblings. So Wanjiko frequently frequents visits, and she would bring goodies, and like she just brought for every other family member. But I think the more she visited, the more connection she started having with the child. And she started making requests and attempt to wanting to have that child. And the grandparents were not sure if they can trust her, and they were afraid she might go and harm the child more. So they declined. And one day she came as usual, and by this time she had a plan. And she waited by the roadside. And as this child was going to school, she hijacked the child, gave her some goodies, just to lure her to follow her. And to the child, it wasn't a surprise because she knew her as a bigger sister, and agreed to follow her, went and changed her clothes, put her into a matatu, and the little girl found herself in a strange land. That's the land of Machakos. She only knew Kikuyu. She couldn't speak Swahili or any other language. And she was kind of traumatized. She didn't understand why she had been removed from the family that she loved. And she didn't understand why she got herself in the place that she found herself. And she was just told, these are your brothers, 2 boys, these are your brothers. From today, these are your brothers. And from today, I'm your mother, which was more traumatizing and very confusing. The rest of the 2 boys who were meant to be her brothers were all laughing at her because she couldn't communicate in Kiswahili. And the environment was very different. I wanted to say that I am that little girl that was abandoned right at birth, that little girl that nobody wanted, that little girl that was rejected even before she was born. My name is Mercy Chidibeidu. I am the founder and director at Ripples International.
2 weeks living where we shine so bright. She goes the host, making everything feel just right. Love, laughter, and glow, that's what we're all about. Come on, join our family, let's really shine. Games and challenges, excitement in the air, friends and guests.
Allow me to say this, that God at His own time makes everything beautiful, because today's guest is someone that I've been so eager to host, and you can already tell why. It's someone, when I had the vision of starting It's Living, it's one of those people that I wrote down in my journal that I had to host, because I knew part of her story, because she has so many. This woman is such an enigma in our society, and I felt we only highlight just parts of her, but people really need to know that for her to get where she is, for her to enjoy the success that she has, she really had to go through a lot. And just to get her here, I also had to go through a lot. I think proof that, when God says that something is going to happen, it's going to happen. We just have to trust in God and be patient. A very warm welcome to this week's episode. As you can tell by now, we are at the lovely Hotel Esri, which is located at Sayen Kenoru Road. You can't miss it. It's just on your way up to Kenoru Stadium, where they have different amenities, such a beautiful rooftop restaurant that you cannot miss. You just want to come in and have your meals and bring your loved ones. We also want to appreciate the sponsors of this week's episode, Exotic Studios, that are located at I&M Bank in Makutano, in between I&M Bank and Murukinjo Paints. You can't miss them. It's just at a stretch there where they take lovely, lovely photos. Karibuni sana to this week's episode, and I know you just want me to stop talking. You want to know more of this story. Karibu sana, Mercy.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for finding the time. I know you've been trying.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry for all the troubles. It wasn't intentional, I can guarantee you, but things happen. But we are here.
We're finally here. Yeah. That's what we have to thank God for.
Yeah.
So I know we've been to different meetings together,
sure.
And every time you share your story, we are all left astonished, because we cannot imagine the woman we know now had to go through all that. So I think we're just going to just get to it now. You've told us from the story of now you've been taken to this fallen land away from those that you knew were your parents. How did you even start to navigate that?
Thank you so much. Very interesting, because because the next thing I knew, this is your brothers. These are your two brothers, and you call me mom.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of trauma. And I must say, the trauma I went through, every step we go in our journey is a training ground. Yeah. And the trauma I went through is at the core of helping me help other children. I'm sure you know, I work with children and I serve children. Yeah. I do child protection. So that episode helped me, is helping me today to be able to navigate and help other children. So I was in this space whereby I can't understand. And you see, parents don't communicate to children. We assume they just follow instructions. So I was told, these are your brothers, and I had to accept. I have all these questions. Where are they, my brothers? Where are my parents? Where have I been disconnected? And then, of course, what they made sure they did to make sure I forget that past, they disconnected me. Like, it took years before I could ever meet my grandparent again, could meet my uncle, who I knew as my brothers. And it was a tough journey, coming from a pit latrine to finding toilet where you need to sit on a toilet. Yeah. So I would climb on top of the toilet, and the rest would laugh at me and that didn't go on very well. And then as we progressed on, of course, children learn very fast. So I was very quickly to be able to learn Swahili and also very quickly learn to adjust. But one of the memories I have is the only way my parents could able to understand, could be able to explain to her friends how I came into the family, where else they knew she only had 2 boys. That thing still remains, it's still in my memory today.
Yeah.
She'd always say, maybe I can say it better in Kimeru, and then I can explain what that means. Kaiko kanditere school. So my mother referred to me as, you're already feeling stigmatized, you're branded, feeling unwanted, like I'm the one who made my mom fail in her vision and her goals. So all the time, Kaiko kanditere school. Every time she's introducing me, she would say, Kaiko kanditere school. This is the one who made me leave school. And I must say it wasn't easy. And the next thing I also want to say, in that journey, I'm not one of the bright kids. In fact, I'm not. I'm always a last in school. From when I entered school, if I'm not last, I'm second last. If when I tell people that, they say, how is it that you went to the university? Yes, that's the truth. My entire primary school, either I'm last or second last. If I'm within the last 3, I've never been among the top students, never ever. I don't do well in academic. I still don't do well. As an adult, my worst dreams is I dream doing exams. And I can
Those
wake
are
up
your
sweating.
nightmares.
They're my nightmares doing exams because I don't like exams. And all through, and then I was very skinny and very tall. So I was always branded, like you'd have, because I was very skinny and tall. Then you hear boys, when you're in the assembly, boys at the back will go, giraffe, and throw papers. So I always did like this, like when we go assembly, you want to squat so that the rest at the back are not, I used to be bullied. And I went through like that. I did my KCP, and I was advantaged because by then we lived in Isiolo. And there's always, you call it the quota system. The children from semi-arid areas are given certain percentage to join good schools. So again, I was lucky because of where I went to school. That percentage, I found myself in Kangaroo High School in Embu. When I went to Kangaroo High School in Embu, life was the same. I was still among the last. And at this time, it became worse because a friend to my mother and a relative of ours were in the same class, but in different schools. We were doing very well. So each time my parents wanted to know my results, they didn't check mine, they checked for my relatives to know where I am. So I was already branded that this one who can't make it in life. Did my KCSE then, and I got a Division 4. Division 4 is equivalent to a D. And my parent wanted me to be a cop because then I wasn't doing well in school, and that was the only available course they thought I could join. So they went ahead. My mother had connections and went to Keganjo. So in fact, my ID is 2 years ahead of my normal age because they had to get me an ID quickly so that I can go to the police training and become a cop. And in my heart, I felt I cannot be a cop. I've never dreamt of being a cop. And 2, I didn't even like the lifestyle we were living or the living conditions we were. So I couldn't imagine myself being a cop. So, but it's that time that that was, I think, the turning point for me and my life. I felt now the only thing that stands between me and being a cop is myself. So what I did, I took a decision to go to Kahaga Girls and try and get an admission for A-level for myself. And by the way, I'm coming from the A-level system, and that was the last A-level group. I was in the last A-level group. So there was no option of repeating, because if you repeated, then you had to go 2 classes behind and join 844. So I went to Kahaga Girls. First day, I wasn't lucky. Second day, I wasn't lucky because the secretary didn't give me a chance to speak to the principal. And I remember third day, I went very early when they were in assembly. It was on a Friday. And so by the time they left assembly, I was waiting at the door of the principal. And she saw me and asked me, I've seen you here the last couple of days. Have you been assisted? So I was able to follow her to the office and bypass the secretary.
Yeah.
And that's why I explained to her. I was very clear. I said, I don't have grades to come to this school, but I'm very good in basketball and I'm very good in drama.
Yeah.
I know you don't have a basketball team in this school and I can help create one. And so I spoke to her with a lot of passion.
Yeah.
And she wanted to know what I had. So I gave her and she was like, shaking her hand. Even today when we meet, she says, I don't know why I gave you an admission, but it must have been God. Yeah. And truly I told her, this was just God. So she requested me to, she asked me, who is your mother? She told me, can I have a conversation with your mother? I said, sure. So when I went home, I went and told if I told her the principal wanted to see her, I believe she may not have come to school. So I should have gotten an admission and the principal wanted to see you. So, so we came with her the following day. No. I told her, I've gotten an admission in Kaga Girls and the principal wants to know if you can pay my school fees. And she was like, with which grades? I said, the grades that I have. They gave you an admission there. She didn't believe, but she accompanied me to school and the principal told her, this girl doesn't have grades to join this school, but she has a lot of confidence and I'm feeling we need to give her a chance and wanted to know, are you going to support her? And my mother was shocked and she agreed to support me. That's how I landed in Kaga Girls with my Division 4, which is equivalent to a D.
Yeah.
And of course, joining Kaga Girls wasn't also easy. It was the last. So our class was called Alpha. Alpha was an extra class because we were getting rid of our system. That was the last A level. They had to create an extra class to admit as many students as possible. So that's how I got to Kaga Girls. To my word, I did very well in basketball. In fact, we created a team. We didn't have a basketball court, so we used to go and play in Meru School or Meru School or Meru Teachers. And we created a team. We may not have gone to nationals, but at least went up to the regionals. Yeah. And actually, they constructed the basketball court when we were there. And then, of course, I was still that child who was not doing well. So I continued with my trend. Either I'm last, I'm second last. At some point in Form 6, that was the whole of Form 5, Form 6, we became a few of us who are not doing well. You know the way teachers pull some students together to see if they can help them. We used to be called Project Mr. Mwenda. So whereby Mr. Mwenda would meet with us on the side and try to help us. But that didn't work. I was still down there. I tried. Not that I wasn't trying. I tried. When the lights go off, we go to the bathroom, put our legs in the basin so that you don't sleep. But I still didn't do well. So exams came. And you know the way you go to an exam room and you do an exam and you know you have done nothing. The only thing you know is your name. Then that evening, by then I got born again when I was in A level. But that evening we were in a fellowship and there's this preacher called Karis who came and was speaking from Genesis. He said, some of you are here, you've done an exam and you're feeling you have done nothing. I wanted to tell you that God created the world out of nothing. Even in this exam where you feel you've done nothing, God can create something out of that nothing.
I'm sure at that point you were shouting.
Yes, I said
the loudest.
I'm holding this. I said, God, you know I've written nothing, but you have said that you can create something out of that nothing. And I finished, and the result came. And those days there was no online results viewing. So you had to go either to the school or to the DO's office. That's where the results were first released. And my mother went to check results. She didn't check mine. She went and checked for her friend's daughter and a relative of mine. And they had all failed. And she didn't check mine. So she came back very furious. You know, in Kimeru, when I put with the police, now you lost the chance. And I was like, wow, of course now I knew if the rest have not made it, I have not made it. So I went inside and prayed. And the following day I decided to go to school and check for my results myself. When I went there, the principal saw me and they were celebrating. You know, it was like miracles will never end. Some of us who are down like this, our results were. And that's how I made it to go to the university. I had passed. So when I went home and told my mother I had passed, she couldn't believe. She had to come to school to check my results to confirm I'm going to the university. And I remember that was her turning point. Her story changed. She didn't believe in me at all. You know, I was branded my entire childhood. And the story changed. So she'll be telling her, anybody calls, you know, in Kimeru, allow me mix the two.
It's all right, it's okay.
She would say, Timate at university, you know.
Now she's preparing.
She's going. So she was telling everybody that I'm going to the university. And that's how I ended up in the university.
Wow.
Yes.
What a journey.
So one of the lessons I learned from there, and I tell people is, we let one incident in life shape our destiny. I could have chosen to go and become a police. I could have chosen to let my failures define me. And I would have ended there. Being a cop, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I didn't believe that's where God wanted me to be. And mostly parents let one exam determine their children's destiny. We have an exam we do after 4 years. We have an exam we do after 8 years in school. Once we do that exam, whatever the grades the child gets, those grades define that child. And maybe they're not gifted academically. Maybe they have other talents. So I always say, don't let one incident in life or one exam in life determine your destiny.
Now, fast forward to now you've gotten to the university. At least did your academics now improve? Now you are feeling motivated, you know?
No, not at all. My whole journey, I say it's a miracle. So I got to the university. I wasn't doing well. My admission was to do education. And I think most of the parents in our time wanted their children to do education, not because they loved teachers, but because it was the only course that was guaranteed of an employment immediately you finish college. As soon as you finish, TSC is waiting for you. Automatically you become a teacher. And you have a job, not because they really wanted you to have a job, but because you begin to support your other siblings. You help them and relieve the burden. So you become now the one supporting your other young siblings. So when I got an admission to go and do education, my parents were very happy. So I reported. First I reported in main campus, then I went to Kikuyu campus. And I didn't imagine being a teacher. So I struggled with it. So one of the things that happened is it was very easy to move from Bachelor of Education to Bachelor of Arts, as opposed to vice versa. And many people wanted to be teachers because then they are assured of jobs. Very easy to move. So I moved and became to be they used to call us Bachelor of anything. It was like the least course you can get in campus. And it continued. So one of the advantages I have is the class I joined, I was doing history. By the way, there's nothing I did in campus that helps me today because I need history in my work. I did history and theory. In history, we are reading history. I don't even know of which countries. European history. And theory, we are doing the history of the Maccabees and you know all that thing that don't help us kind of in life. And then I met this lecturer called Dr. Motoro, who kind of convinced me to do archaeology. And at that time, there were no ladies interested in doing archaeology. And convinced me and assured me how I do it, and I can get a scholarship, and I can go and study in the US. There are no women archaeologists in Kenya. And, you know, he lured us, and I joined until I was in end of second year. So when I realized, wait a minute, I'm becoming an archaeologist. Then I began researching. The only place I can work is either a lecturer or in a museum as a curator. So we go to these Lukenya excavations, Nakuru, and I switched again. And I was going my third year, but he was very supportive. He told me, I know you do this, but he also helped me switch from just pure archaeology to now doing history and theory. And that was my campus journey. And you know, in the university, all you need is a pass.
Yeah.
So I made it. I did it.
You did,
And you can cram, you can maybe know what exam to expect. If there are 5 questions, you cram 5. And out of that 5, at least 3 will come.
Yeah.
So if you've crammed well and your 3 questions come, then
you're good to go.
Then you're good to go.
Yeah.
And that's how I graduated from Nairobi University with a Bachelor of Art. And my parents, I forgot to say that, didn't know I was not a teacher until when I was graduating.
Whoa.
That's when they got to know I'm not graduating as a teacher.
Yeah.
Because over the holiday, they'll ask me, we saw so and so doing teaching practice, and I'll tell them I did my teaching practice in Nairobi. So they only knew when I was graduating that I was not a teacher they were expecting. Yes. So that was my high school journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and all this, because of course, we are all parents. I know you have your own grown kids. So you see, in all your journey, you've had to be cheeky, you've had to lie here and there for you to get where you are. Would you say now, of course, that you attribute to not being able to talk to your mom and just be honest about what you want? So you would say that even us as parents, we do make our kids like just start lying. They initially don't want to lie to us, but of course we are too tough to them. Would you say now your experience now with your mom and fighting for your dreams, would you say it has shaped you to become a better mom to your own kids?
I would say yes. And I'm one person, I haven't argued with my children on their career choices and their job choices. I support what they say.
Yeah.
To give an example, my son has tried so many fields. He's tried this, he's tried this. Last time he was he was a pilot, did it for like almost a year, discovered, no, this is not what I want. So right now he's doing ICT, wanting to focus on cybersecurity. Now he's saying, no, I think I want to specialize more on AI. And that's what I tell them. That's the best I can do to support them, explore. And it's not everything that you think this is it. You go inside there and you realize this is not what I'd wanted. My daughter went and became an architect. And after she did, she finished her degree and graduated as an architect. She told Mom, I'm not sure this is what I want. I thought I'll be an architect. I don't want to be an architect. And she completely said she doesn't want to be an architect. She's done her whole training. She has graduated, got good grades. And she said, I want to do my master's and do real estate, finance and investments. And she's very passionate about it. That's what she's doing. So I always tell her, your degree is not a waste, at least in your real estate and business. It's helping you. So I'm one person who I've thrown them there in the deep end. I'm sure one of the days you should have a session with one of them. When they finish high school, I've never held anybody's hand to take them to a college. No. I said, you go find what you want, come and tell me. So my daughter said she wanted to go and do law in Strathmore. I said, okay, you go and find. So she went, she's in Nairobi, told me they have denied me access. Why? Because she wasn't, they're very strict on their dressing. She didn't have formal wear. I said, then go buy. You can go to toy market, buy something. She went, did her interviews. She qualified and came back home. So I'm usually very sad when I see even children who are adults, like for example, I'm an employer. And somebody is looking for you, has come with a son. I'm here to find her. I would hardly give that child a job. Why? Because they're still being taken care of by the parents have not let go and be. This is a person who has finished college. You are there carrying their document, you are driving them, they're coming for interview, you want to sit there and wait for them to do the interview. We parent differently, but I don't think that's my kind of parenting. So I threw her independent. She got her admission letter, made all the payments. I'm one person who gives them school fees. Now I'm here, ukitaka enda ukule. I give them. I don't go and pay. No, I tell them, ukitaka you go and squander your school fees. So she did, I only went to her school when they called for a mother's breakfast.
Yeah.
That's when I got to visit her in school.
Yeah.
And that was in her second year.
Yeah.
And they called us because we were going on a trip to Rome. And that has been the case for all of them.
Yeah.
My daughter is the third year also at Nairobi University, also doing law. I've never been to her college. When I'm in Nairobi, I'm here. Can we have lunch? Because I don't want to be...
So
you
much
may
into
enter
our
in their
business.
space and get a heart attack yourself. I like to save myself.
So you actually saving
So
yourself.
that's trouble. I'm not saying they're there, but when you see what happens in campus life, I'd rather not know. They say it's better. Is it a poison you haven't eaten?
It cannot kill you. What you don't know won't hurt you.
Yeah. So I give my children a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
But that doesn't mean I don't talk to them as a parent.
Yeah, sure.
I will tell them these are the consequences, but you have a free will to choose. Yes.
Yeah. What an interesting way. I think a few of us can borrow a leaf from that because we want to know everything. We want to follow everything. Have you eaten? Where are you going? You know?
No.
Yeah. It's good to let them just be adults and, grow and think for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you've noticed, today I don't even have so many questions because Mercy's story is one that just flows. This one is something it's a story I also wanted to hear for myself. So today I'm just letting it just flow. So now there's this part you mentioned that your own childhood challenges and all the trauma you had to go through is what is guiding you today, not even all the education that you had to go through and you had to be forced into. So maybe fast forward to now, Ripples. How did Ripples start? How was this dream born and up to what it is today?
So thank you so much for that. Ripples is, I'm surprised as you are. How it happened.
Yeah.
Because after all that, I got a very good job.
Yeah.
And it's another story how I got that job.
Yeah.
Maybe story for another day. And I was doing okay, I would say. Living well. And maybe about my marriage is something I can also talk about later.
Yeah.
I'm married, have children, and have a good job. And I believe it's a job some people dream to have.
Yeah.
And then I can't say that I dreamt of Ripples and I planned that I want to create this amazing organization. No. In course of my work, I think it was at the peak of HIV pandemic. One of my friends unfortunately was infected with HIV. And the family moved her from Nairobi, where I was working and living, and moved her to Meru. And I remember me visiting her every other weekend, and it also started visiting her every week. And at some point, she became very weak. And I believe she became weak because she was isolated. Her friends were not allowed to visit and things like that. And the point when I started talking to her parents that she should allow her friends to visit, and the mother became very furious. You know, in Kimeru, modimere umenya NID, and that's how I was disconnected from, unfortunately, visiting her. Because then we only had landlines, so the brother would only tell me when the parents are not home, and I'll call. My friend died, eventually died, was buried, and the longest people knew she went to the US. So I meet the brother one time, and I said, "Oh, how is so doing?" And they tell me, she passed on, and I was very sad. I was very heartbroken. Here is this work I'm doing on day to day. I used to work with an organization called Catholic Relief Services. It's an American organization. And this is the work I'm doing. Yet I can't help my own people. In Meru, the stigma was in the highest. Nobody wanted to talk about it. In fact, people used to say, come do this. So I decided, let me take my break and come and do some survey and talking to people. There was a lot of myths and misconception about HIV.
yeah.
People say, you know, "Dirikari ebwiri kodi manto," and then you know, it's like a concentration camp, so that we can reduce the infection. Then I'm thinking, okay, these are my people. What can I do? So I went back and told my boss, I want some time off. I need to go to Meru and I need to educate the community on this. So I came. And I found out, I used to go to the large farms, you know, those flower farms in Timau.
Yeah.
You know, I crisscrossed this. Then I realized it's much more than I thought. The stigma was very high. It was so bad that when I gave somebody a lift, nobody wanted me to give them a lift in my car because we are all associated with HIV.
Yeah.
So it's a long story, but eventually I went back, told my boss, I want to take unpaid leave, and took unpaid leave. After my unpaid leave, I had to quit. I realized this. I said I need to do this for another 1 year, and then I go back to work.
Yeah.
And 1 year, it's 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that,
So I can't say that I planned and I had this vision. This is what I just followed my heart.
yeah.
And followed the talent that God has given me. And it's not that I had this money to go and create this organization. No, I started from where I am. What could I afford? A car and a loudspeaker, go around educating the community. A few volunteers here and there. Somebody will say, I'll give you 5,000. Me know and support your work. But on the other side, my husband, or the father of my children, had a very good job also. He worked with the UN.
Yeah.
So in terms of family upkeep and everything was taken care of. And so I didn't struggle much on that side, but I wasn't having any source of income.
Yeah.
But what I was doing was so fulfilling that I kept going and I kept going.
Yeah.
And that is how Ripples was founded. Yes.
And what, maybe for the sake of those that may be hearing about Ripples for the first time, what does Ripples do?
So yeah, Ripples is a non-profit Christian organization. We are involved in child protection. We protect and promote the respect for the rights of children.
Yeah.
So we have a safe house for girl survivors of various forms of violence, from sexual violence to forced child marriage to teenage pregnancy to FGM, all of them. So we rescue, we offer shelter, we do psychosocial support, trauma assessment and treatment. Some of them go through reconstructive surgeries. And then we also do legal redress. And we also do witness, of course, it's witness, all of it I've mentioned is witness protection. But of course, we go further, we do witness support because many of the children have never been to a courthouse.
Yeah.
So we take them as witnesses. What does it mean for them to be? Either because they're a victim or they have witnessed a crime. So we have that program that we prepare them as witnesses. And then we have the Babies Rescue Home. That's a New Start Center. Actually, that started in my house. Not that I planned to start a baby's home. It's also a long story how it came to be, but it basically started in my house. Having one child, then two, then three, then it was ripe. I can't say I planned to have this amazing children's home, no. And then we have Access to Justice is a program that supports members of the community to access justice, cases of issues of child maintenance, child custody, domestic violence, inheritance, etc. And then we also have, we are also a registered adoption agency. So we facilitate alternative family care through adoption. We also have a sponsorship program. We help children to access education. So we have children in primary school, high school, all the way up to college. And we also implement the alternative justice system. People who have disagreements, they come to us and we offer mediation. And this is mainly aimed to decongest our courts. You find courts are congested with some of very petty things that can be sorted back at home. And then, of course, we also do climate change initiative. Like now we are doing school feeding programs in several schools within the county. We work in Meru, Isiolo, Tharaka Nithi, and Samburu counties. Yeah, so we are working in 4 counties.
Yeah.
Basically, that's a nutshell about what we do. And also, we started a school, an health school, which is part of Ripples International. And the school started out of the needs of our own children.
Yeah.
But with time, we also opened it to other members of the community. And I believe we are the best school in the county.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Two peaks living where we shine so bright. She goes the host,